Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Happy August 9th today. So we will be doing the SPY analysis, the Qs, the IWM, and also talking about my awesome little trip. We went to Rivière de Loup today up in mid-Quebec, about 4.5 hours away from Montreal, and our intent is to see some whales. So it was a great time to get away, beautiful weather up there. But if you guys are going to Rivière de Loup, know that the whale watching cruises from there are canceled. If you guys are new to my channel, please go ahead, like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you guys can get awesome videos like this, you know, when I go live. Hello, Asif, how are you? I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. We had a great time seeing some beautiful, beautiful scenery. I will post some more pictures up on Instagram, maybe some more of my story there, so you guys can check them out. And let's go ahead and get into the list for today, going into Monday. So I did take off on Friday, was mobile, did everything basically from my phone. Thanks to a couple people, got some updates at midday while we were out by the shore. And here is my list going into the week. So the longs, potential longs, CNDT, Groupon, Z, STMP, TLND, and then potential shorts, Apple, DT, BC, Team, and QCOM. A couple potential longs as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let me go ahead and clear the list here. We'll go ahead and clear it, add them in. And as always, you're doing well. Good to hear. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm a little tired, just a little tired. 2 kids out in a new location all weekend is tiring. They always want to do something. They're always curious, looking at things, which is great, but can be tiring. But it was very nice to get away, change of scenery, see something new and different. All right, so let's get into it. I also have, oh, I did put Apple on there. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the SPY. We do have the 45 minutes. Oh, cool. Nice to see. We will check it out. I didn't do my floats. I did, and the short volume, so we'll go over those two at the same time. So actually, let's go ahead and do the short volumes as well. Ah, thank you. It's the beach look, right? So CNDT was 42% short volume on Friday. For Groupon, they had earnings, 41%. Go to STMP, 43%. Oops, I want Zillow actually. Zillow was 44. I'll really crack up if TLND was 45%. That'll just 28%. Okay, good. All right, so let's go back over here. All right, so the SPY, looking forward into the week, right? We have a bit of a gap fill to fill up to 337, right? When we go back on our daily chart, right back here, we can see that we do have a bit of a gap to fill to the bottom right here. Let's see, the low was 337. We opened at 336.16, so we might stop right there. That might be a bit of a resistance to the upside. Also right here, the the close of 337 as well. Up here, right here, that bottom 336.47. So we've got a little bit of resistance also right here, 335.54. So we will see where we're going to end up on Monday. But when we look at it on our SPY, it's riding right up in this channel, right? It goes to the lower bounds, bounces up. Maybe we're going to test up here, up at the 338, 339 level, and then we might pull back down again, hit our 200 simple moving average, potentially again down here around 327. So we'll see. It's never just the straight up. It's always a bit of a staircase. So it goes up, pulls back, up, flat line up, flat, 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 consolidation, up, oh, look, we hit another really strong resistance up here. So looking at it right now let's go ahead and stretch it out a bit more. We can go ahead and move this green line right on up here, potentially 334.80. We want to see it break 334.80 going forward for a potential long trade, in my opinion, and break down below right here, 332.50 for the SPY. No, Carla, I'm still looking for different names for the hot sauce. So would love to have that happen. And I got to tell you guys too, lots of people message me that my sale ended really quickly and my birthday is coming up next Saturday. So, oh, like that one, Carla, that's nice. So for this week, if you guys are interested in trying out my watch list gift as the promo code, it'll be 43% off for the year that I'm celebrating next Saturday. So hello, blind trader, how are you? And hello, Brent. Yep, whales this weekend. We saw them from the shore. Before we got on the ferry, we had to deal with going across the St. Lawrence River, hour-and-a-half ferry ride across. Then we got up there. Then there was one boat, and that boat was full. It was a mess. But we are well educated for next year. Thank you, blind trader. It's actually next Saturday, so looking forward to it. All right, let's check out the Qs as well. So the Qs, we are in that upward trend. However, it looks like, you can see here's our 50 simple moving average on the 45-minute chart. That is many times a buying point, right? They bought here, they bought here. Next test would be this 200 down at 266.35. And then in my opinion, if we break below 263.61, our next test is going to be down here, 256. So yeah, tell anyone that wants to go ahead and start to learn to trade. If you guys want to check out that watch list, 43% off through next Sunday. All right, so levels that I would recommend watching for the Qs, we sort of look like it could be a potential head and shoulders setting up, right? Shoulder, maybe a head and a shoulder right here if it continues. And then if it breaks down below this line right here, 269.40, then it could be going down to the downside potentially. The Qs have been the strongest, so if they start to pull back, that could go ahead and signify that the market is ready to roll over. IWM has typically been the weakest, and now it is squeezing. Let's pull it back on the weekly, and that white line, I believe, is the weekly highs. No, but that is the upward trend that we have had since the pullback back in 2015, going off the bottoms here. So looking at that, it did respect it back in May of 2019. So maybe it's going to test that as resistance up here. Let's go ahead and draw a downward trend line as well. Up here from the tops, right? So we have a ways to hit that downward trend line if we come back up and test it again. You know, it could be up here at 166. Now remember, the short volumes, they keep building their short positions on the indexes. So that can really affect our short squeeze. Let's get into the potential longs and shorts for the week. So we do have CNDT. I didn't do my floats, so let's do it really quickly right here as we go. CNDT, 197 million in the float. So that's not really that low float, but it did have incredibly massive volume, and there's no earnings. It looks like MACD is starting to curl up. We stalled right at the 50 simple moving average. If we do break this potential move on up, maybe right up here to that resistance at 538. After that potential test, 691, and then on up potentially to 731. Let's go ahead and look at it. We do have a bit of a wedge going on here, if you guys can see it, right here and right here. It did close just above it, but also looks like we need to break that resistance right here, 422. So we're above that little wedge on the shorter time frame, 15 minutes. So if we have that big volume continue in, they had earnings, big volume continue in and up, we could see that it's going to potentially test that $5 mark, 591, 730. So let's look at our supports and resistance. All right, let's go ahead and let's set it up here at 425 because it did test there a couple times, but it never broke above it. And I'd like to see if it breaks down. We're going to go ahead and break below 380. It is, you know, considered a penny stock by many of the brokerage houses because it is less than $5. So if this does end up getting some volume behind it and it breaks out and it goes back above 500, then those back above $5, then those institutions can go ahead and start investing in it again. But that massive volume is what really caught my eye. All right, next one, Groupon. So Groupon did have earnings, went ahead, gapped up, likely short squeeze. Let's go ahead and check out the float, 23.7 million. So that's fairly low, right? 20 million tends to be my cutoff. So 23.7 is still fairly small. And they did have the reverse split back here, 1 for 4. And it went above that price. So next big resistance is going to be $28 right there. Let's go look at it on the shorter time frame. Yeah, you know what, ASIF, with the puts and options, there's so many different ways to use them that it could have been a hedge on a long position. So if it has unusual options, I'm not really going to look at that. I'm more going to look at the dark pool. What is the dark pool doing? And where are we in relation to that dark pool activity, right? So let's look at 25.20 as our support right here. It was a resistance that once it broke it, right, I'm just going to do this. There we go. So once it tested it once, then it broke through, came up. Now we have a resistance up here and 26.50. Let's put it up just a little bit. So we want to go ahead and see that volume go ahead and break forward. Now it was just 41% on the, it was just 41% short volume on Friday. So that means there was more buying than there was selling. So there could be some nice move coming in. It might even squeeze the shorts right before open. So it might be a pre-market trade. Just remember it's less liquid. And we do need to see it. A target that I would use would be potentially 28.20 area. You can see 28.40 acted as resistance in the past, 29.60 right here. So we've also got 28.80. That EMA might act as a stopping point, and we're starting to get a little extended right here. All right. Next one, we have Zillow. Zillow and Z and ZG, they're both Zillow. So they both trade, they mimic each other. So we had a nice run up pre-market on Friday, hit a high, $85, pulled back, found support roughly around 78.80. So we're going to go ahead and put 78.80. Many times they will do a gap fake out. They'll say, oh, we're going to go ahead and suck the shorts in, and we're going to go ahead and take it down here, and then they might go ahead and squeeze them on Tuesday. Usually you will see 3 days to the upside right after earnings, or 3 days to the downside. So you want to go ahead and watch that activity, and we're going to go ahead and put it at 80.20 for the upward resistance here. Now I'll type it in over here. As you guys know, I do post this on my Instagram as well with all the details if you guys want to find that 136 million for the float. And if there's anything that you want to see, I do have some new cool videos coming up in the next couple of weeks. If there's anything you all ever want to see, go ahead and let me know. I will put it in there. But we have a higher volume, bit of a doji here. We could have a gap fill down where it might pull back to 74 if we break that 78, or up above 80, we might test 84 again, and then on up to, many times it's roughly 80% that go from 80 to 100. So check that out. Oh, I totally misspelled stamp there. SMP, STMP. Now stamp is somewhat lower float. How many shares do we have here? 16.3 million, so that is a lower float stock as well. They have been low float for a while, and I know the shorts are stubborn on stamp. there was a guy way back here. Hold on. It fell down here to $80. Then it came down to 32, and I said, hey, look, pay attention. Like, this one can really move. Then it went up to 185. I really hope that he got out of his short, because he's like, oh yeah, no, I sure did it, $80. Ouch, if you didn't. So that's why this one can really run and move really quickly. Let me go ahead and remove the drawings on here. All right, so we had a brick wall. You can see right here, pre-market or post-market on Thursday. Went ahead, it tested it, and it couldn't break above. So really, I want to set that as the resistance, because it just could not break this 315 area. Right, you guys see it pre-market right here. They kept selling off. Now, we do have this 335 up here. That might be a trade where they want to take it up that extra $20. So that might be interesting to look at for this week. And we'll go ahead. The support visually to me is right here, 294.20 or 294.50 right there. All right, so 294.50 as support and 315.20 as resistance. Then we have TLND, Talend Technologies. Again, they had higher abnormal volume and earnings this past week. So $40 to the downside and $42 to the upside. Let's go ahead and bring it right up there to that round number. Yeah, ASAP, I'll write that down right now. Let me find my pen. Okay, so in the money, at the money, and out of the money. I will be doing just like a super basic option one, so maybe I'll include that in the basic options video. That'll probably come the end of August, but I'll answer that for you. All right, so you can see we do have this resistance from the past back here. So even if it breaks 42, it looks like 43 really is going to be that area to test. Let's look at it for 5 years as well. Looks like if we break 42, 43, we've got a nice move on up to $45. So that could be nice. All right, going forward with Apple. Apple had a bit of a pullback. When we look on the 45-minute chart, you can see we came up, hit 450, 457, 458, pulled back. Now we're down here, but it looks like they've started to curl over. We're below the 20 SMA, we're below our 50, and Apple could really affect the market. Now remember, they do have their stock split 1-for-4 coming up on August 24th. So keep that in mind. Many people might be buying it on that reason. Personally, I'm going to look and see if it comes close to my favorite level to go ahead and buy before getting into it. And that would be all the way down at the 425 down here. So that's also on a trend line. So looking at 405, that's roughly going to be my entry, $40. Right now it looks a little overvalued to me. And it could pull back, like I said, back to 405. Where is that trend line that I had? Not all the way down here. Right here, 405. I'd be looking at that as potential entry for continuing up. Right now we had that massive short squeeze up here, could come back and then continue on up. Would look for, if I got in at 405, would use that 398 as my get out point. So remember, when we do a split on a stock, it does not change the overall value of the company. However, if it's a $400 stock, then it goes to becoming $100. And instead of having one share, you're going to have 4 shares at $100. So if it were to pull back, then it's going to end up affecting your portfolio a bit more because you have more shares. You have a larger position for a smaller move. All right, so Apple, 442 and 446.40 for me. I'm adding them on for you, G-Man. All right, let's look at DT. I also had some potential swings that I didn't put on my list. So DT had earnings, crazy high volume. That's what really, whoops, 15, nope. There we go. All right. So Dynatrace, I almost said Dynatech. Right here, 38.50 for a resistance for us, and for support right down here, 37.50. All right, I will put the floats on my Instagram post as well. So you can see this was a resistance in the past that's now flipped to be a support. It tested it once. This is now our second test. Are we going to break down? Yeah, my pleasure. We'll do 38.6 actually, because you can see that that was a strong resistance as well. KNSL. All right, got it. Okay, so let's go to BC, Brunswick Corp, and I'm going to put it on a 24-hour chart so we can see where we ended up on Friday. So we came back, we tested the 50 simple moving average, again, had higher than normal volume. We have our MACD all the way down here, or stochastics, excuse me. It's stochastics, not MACD. Stochastics, and it might be ready to curl up. However, look, in the past we've come, let's turn on. Back here we were down at 9, all the way down at 2 over here, so it could still pull back. So I'm not going to use that solely as an entry, more the volume and the candlesticks, but looking at it for sure. Wow, that's pretty good. 65.20, let's even move it up just a little bit more. So 65.40. And we'll pull this back down. I want to see that it's going to break $63 to the downside. All right, 63 for our support and 65.40 for resistance. All right, and you can see it struggled around here before, then it broke up, came back, bounce up, support, bounce, support, support, finally broke it. We're at the 50 simple moving average, could fail from here, and then we'd have a nice trade down to 57 from there. Team, for potential short, let's go ahead and remove any drawings on here. You can see we're starting, look at how that average just, it loves to work, and it's free. All right, so I've got resistance 171.60 and support down here at 169.50. TTD, Trade Desk. TTD is a low float 2G, man, just so you know. I need to create a low float series, low float list. Put it out there. I think I need to create a block trade indicator for low floats so that I can catch it when they're moving. All right, QCOM. You can see QCOM, abnormal volume again, right? We did hit our moving average on the downside right here. Let's put it on our 24 hours. It pulled back and it bounced. But it was able to go ahead and stay above this resistance of 108 right here. Let me get rid of this channel. Now, are we going to go ahead and continue? This just was a refueling session, a pit stop for the buyers to jump in, or is it going to be, thanks, John. Yeah, coming up. I'm a Leo. That's why I've got the crazy mane of hair going on. All right, 108.50, 108.50 to the downside. And look, let's put it right here, 106.40. So 106.40 for support. And 108.50 for resistance. Now, my potential longer term or just potential swing trades going into the week, I would say is OGS. You can see it's coming and it's slowly, it's got a bit of a downward, oops, that's not what I wanted. I want my trend line, right? So if this goes ahead and it breaks right up here, that's $79, we could see a test all the way up. We'll maybe potentially test 84. We test that, we'll be curling right on up. So it's starting to look like it might be ready to make that move. We've gone above all the moving averages. No, Asif, you don't need to. No. Oops, MKL. We'll do that later. ESRT. Empire Realty, again, Similar, we have this wedge. So looking for these wedges to be broken. It was a bit broken right here, finally with some volume, but would really like to see it go ahead and break that $7 move area. So it might have a real quick trade right on up to $7, but then would want to see that prove itself as a support area as well, because it's sort of been coming down around here. Hey, we've got support down here around this 635, 640 area, and it would need to break that 7 area. So it looks like it's sort of oscillating between the two. Also, EAF, Graph Tech International. So these are all some lower float ones that look like they might have a move coming to them. Right? It's hitting this trend line. We just had earnings a bit higher than normal volume. Want to see it break these resistance areas right here, $7.50, and then on up to $8, $8.50, potentially $9.40. Okay, and the last one for potential POR. I'll look at it, G-Man. POR Electric. So Portland General Electric. I'm tired, guys. Sorry. Right here, right? Are we going to break this 43.60? A nice little move on up to 44.80, and then one on up to 46.60. Going with utilities. Utilities tend to be fairly strong seasonally at this time of year, so definitely check it out. All right, let's add on Nokia, and let's start looking at the list we have here. So we have MKL from G-Man. All right, so G-Man, it is upward trending. It's just riding those averages right on up. We have a break, you can see it broke right here of the 1050, and we broke pretty much all of the moving averages. So now it's just pretty much clear skies. It looks like potentially next stop on up 1118.25, and then maybe a resistance area 1140 and 1150. Right on up there. So we might stop at 1120 as well. You can see in drawing it auto that it's giving us a $20 increments. So you might see 1110 and then on up 1120, 11. It might move in $10 increments. What's our average daily range here? Low of 1071 and a high of 1094. So it looks like $24 range throughout the day is an average move for it. Roughly 2% will be the average daily range when you're looking at it. So I would tighten this up. Let's go to the 15-minute chart and look for that break of 1096 even. 1095, and I'll draw another support right down here, 1084, right there. And TWLO. TWLO looks to be like it's curling down just a bit. It looks like a bit of a rounded top. It looks like we've broken our support from over here. Let's go to our daily. And we broke a trend line as well. Let's get rid of this. I don't know why it's there. I don't really need that one. Right? So if we look at this support right here, 245.50, it bounced right there, and it also has curled below the 21 EMA and the 20 SMA. So it looks like it could be definitely pulling back. Let's look on our 45-minute chart. We're below my favorite moving average. So to me, that can really be a trend change to the reverse side. So as long as it holds that as a resistance area, I would be looking at potentially trend change on this, right? Massive volume came in right when it hit it right here, and now we're below it. We aren't below this volume candlestick as of yet, but if it were to break below and hold below 2245.50, might be a short correction trade on TWLO. All right, PCG, we got that one to the upside. Look, every time it hits, sellers are coming in. So I would look for 927 to act as a resistance. Breakout from there if we could go ahead and get it potentially. Now remember, PCG has been going through bankruptcy. We're getting into fire season out in California, and this is one that's usually heavily hit by fires. So keep that in mind. And as a short, I would look, hey, if it comes all the way back down here, 888. You know what? There have been quite a large number of dark pool prints on this. So many that I don't keep track of them because it has just gone sideways for a long period of time. You can see it's gone sideways right here to right here. So until they figure out their direction, they're probably not going to move it. They're probably just going to trade it sideways between 888 and 960. When it moves one way or the other, we'll likely have the big trade there. Even just looking at the chart, you can see that. Hey, we're going sideways. Oh, down. Okay, we'll buy a little bit. Okay, we take it up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, but now it's starting to be consistently to the downside as well with a bit of a trend line here. And it's not breaking above. Look at how cool it is that I drew that trend line here and it holds here, here, and here is support, and here is support as well. Then finally, once we broke below it here, selling. Came up, selling, selling. So are we going to break down and have this descending triangle turn into a short? Very well could. Then we'll hit 840, then potentially down to 780, and potentially down here. We are, if you look at this, just below this major volume on June 26th. So if you just want to read the chart technically and say, hey, where are we compared to the largest not dark pool, but the largest volume candlestick day? Well, this is that largest volume candlestick day pretty much for the last year. And as a result, we are below it. So keep all of that in mind. Even if you don't know where the dark pool prints are, just read the chart. Look at where your volume is. Where are we in relation to this candle? Okay, well, we're below it right now. Okay, if we were to go above it right up here at 966, then potentially this was all buying volume right here in this candle, and it's going to launch on back up to $20 again. All right, KNSL. KNSL, big volume, same thing, big volume right here on this candlestick day. Where are we in relation to it? Well, we're still, it looks like still positioning. Right? We had big volume here, boom, up above. Again, here, maybe there were a lot of shorts that got in and they started to get squeezed, closed out their position. Quick question, have you been monitoring any mortgage companies? I've noticed PennyMac Financials is doing 90% in 3 months. 90% what? 90% financing? Asif, you could definitely sign up for software that you're able to go ahead and follow the dark pools, but without training and understanding how to trade them, it can be difficult. So for Kinsale Capital Group, I would look for a break above 210 or break down below 202.30 right here. And then potentially move down to that 195 area, test the top of this candlestick here. And Trade Desk. I'm sorry, my nose is running. All right, so Trade Desk. Earnings higher than expected. Here's the thing. We were not able to hold above this 500 mark, and we pulled back on it. Growth on the stock. Okay. Yeah, you know what? A lot of people have been refinancing their mortgages, and the buying rate is pretty crazy right now. Still, people are still buying, at least in the States. Up in Canada, I feel like it slowed a little bit. We had, once the lockdown stopped, it slowed down a little bit. And so now, with mortgage companies, remember that the Fed is buying a lot of federally backed securities. So think about Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. Those mortgage products are now being bought by the U.S. government. So that could be inflating the numbers as well. It's just a mess right now. But they could still have big moves. I'm leery into getting into mortgage companies after being in the mortgage world in 2008, saw the breakdown there. It's really weird. I was working in stocks back in 2000, then the dot-com bubble happened, they all fell apart. I was working in mortgages and real estate back in 2007, 2008, in Philadelphia saw the bubble crumble there. Back into the stock market, is it going to crumble again? I don't know, but this time I'm prepared. All this education in the past has just led me to this point, right? Looking at Trade Desk in the past, what happened as well over last earnings? Well, it pulled back down here. So could we see a nice pullback to 450? Very likely. It could very well happen again. That's where it found support. Also on the 20 simple moving average, there was this consolidation box for a couple days right here as well, and then it launched above. So maybe even down here to 431, 430 area, and they might go ahead and start buying it back up again. 420. If we break below 420, watch out, 412, and then so on. Next support maybe down here around 394. All right, and the last one, Nokia for G-Man. Nokia beat earnings. Well, you know what? Earnings doesn't really mean anything. Microsoft beat earnings and it pulled back. Amazon beat earnings and it pulled back. It's just trade the chart. Don't go with the news. Don't go with the fundamentals. To me, if you're a day trader, go with the technicals of the chart and what's the volume telling you. Large volume candlestick right here. We're still above it. The volume is dropping, and was that happening with Apple too? No. But if you look at the SPY, I don't know about Friday, but everything going into it, Friday we had a bit higher volume, but it started to have descending volume. Let's look at our weekly chart too, to go back and look at the assessment. We're starting to see the volume drop, right? It's dropping here on the SPY. How about on the Qs? In the past 4 weeks, it's starting to drop a bit, right? IWM, it's dropping. And the price is going up. DIA, dropping, right? When we go back and we want to see, hey, what happened, right? February, just at the top, what happened? Dropping, right? Let's look at IWM again. What happened here? Dropping. Let's go to the Qs. Dropping. Let's go to the SPY. Dropping. And the price action was going up. Is this going to be another little pop? We test, we hit 340, maybe we even come up here when we hit 343, and then we drop. It's possible. You know, I think there's a lot playing on this week, and keep checking in for my 12:15 live streams, and we'll talk about it, because the big guys know what's going on. They have their pulse on what's happening with the senators, what's going on with this next stimulus. You know, hey, these senators, I grew up in DC. I grew up with senators, and I know the life that they lead, and all these guys are having their 3-day recess, and unfortunately there's so many people in the US that are being threatened with being evicted and having a roof over their head. And these guys are going ahead and they're enjoying their weekend and they're enjoying their life while not necessarily thinking about those that are in their hands and their decisions and how they can make. I'm not saying everybody, but it's hard to see that happen to the US public and know that it's happening. It's very difficult, and these big guys might know that they might not even come up with a resolution next week, and there might be a recess back until September 7th, and nothing will be done, and that could be a downturn that we have coming. Back in March, they went ahead and they extended their session in the Senate so that they could go ahead and write a bill and go ahead and get it approved. They have this 3-day weekend. Are they going to be using that to go ahead and do something constructive, or are they going to do it, take it off to go ahead and just enjoy their time with their families and not help the US public? We will see. Thanks, Asif. But as always, guys, I like your idea, Asif, for the upcoming video. Let me go ahead and pull it back over here. If you guys ever have any questions or anything you want to see in my videos, please put it in the comments below. And have an amazing week. Check me out on Mondays through Fridays at 12:15 live for roughly 15 minutes. And my uploads coming up on Tuesday night and Thursday night, 6 p.m. Eastern. All right, guys, have a great week. And don't forget, My watch list is on sale all week through Sunday, August 16th for 43% off with the promo code GIFT. Carpe Profits, he says profits one trade at a time. Bye.